What's up, legends? On today's video, I made a phone cooler. For all you phone mining nerds out there, this is probably what you're gonna need to cool those phones. Took me a bit of time. This was a request from Dirty Miner. Thanks for the idea, Dirty Miner. And I think I've got the final product here. I might change one little small thing here, but this is pretty much its final form. And I pulled out all the stops on all the things that I've learned over the past few months on 3D printing, and I tried to incorporate all those things into this. So let's show you how this thing works. So, comes in 3 pieces, 1, 2, 3. You've got a fan on the bottom, which exhausts air up, and then you've got the holes in here, which will vent into the phones. So you'll have cool air coming through here and out and exhausting all the hot air, all the heat away from the phones. And I'll leave a link in the description below to the fan I use. This is a pretty cool fan. It's this company here. Let's see if I can get that focused in here. Yeah. I've used these fans, all types of their fans. All their fans are like really fantastic. I use them all the time. Obviously not sponsored. I'm only got like 250 followers, whatever. But yeah, I do like these fans. I've never had an issue with them. And this fan in particular comes with a speed controller. And you can just, low, medium, high, just turn the knob up to the amount you want. And it cranks out a pretty good amount of air for this unit in particular. And I designed that specifically for maximum airflow so you can use a lower RPM fan. I think the RPMs on this is, I can't remember, 2,000, 3,000, something like that. But it works, and it works perfectly. And you can actually buy some breakout cables, I guess you would call them, to where you could feed 3 fans off of this single barrel adapter here. So you could potentially have 3 of these setups, 3 fans, all controlling it with one little knobby thing here for the speed. So that's that. Let's take this thing apart and kind of see what it looks like. Top comes off. These are the holes for ventilation. This comes off. And what I tried to do is make this so you didn't need tools, screws, or anything like that. It all just fits into each other kind of snug. The fan itself keeps this snug so that doesn't, get popped off. The recess on here, is a deep enough recess where it's not going anywhere. If you knock the whole thing over, obviously it might come apart a little bit, but, and yeah, so the fan, you have to unfortunately have 4 screws. That's the only piece that needs hardware. I did have to make one small modification on this fan. For the life of me, I don't understand why they would just have a notch already cut out here so you could have the wire, going this way or this way, depending on which side you had, the fan facing. For the life of me, I don't know why they wouldn't have that. I feel like that should be default, whatever. So I had to notch out a little cut right there. It wasn't too bad. I did kind of crack the plastic a little bit by doing that, so that kind of sucks. If you use this fan, just be careful when you're notching out that little cut there to get the fan, the wires to go through there. That way you can fit it through here. That's the only modification I had to do. But other than that, this thing's ready to go. Let's get a little bit more detail. I did make this little insert, which is pretty cool for Varus. Obviously, this is Varus colors. I think Varus is pretty much the premier coin to mine with cell phones. So we got that little insert there. And we'll talk about this in the what did I learn at the end of the video, like always. And yeah, that's what they look like. They're pretty cool. I put it on one of the, I don't know if you can see the carbon fiber kind of shimmer to it. I put it on one of those build plates just to give it a little bit more character. Put this bad boy back in. We'll get a phone popped in there. Ouch. Bam, and phone. Pops in just like that. Now this is, sorry, it's really extremely long ruler. The gap here is roughly 13 millimeters wide. I don't think there's any phones that people are legitimately using to mine Varus. Usually it's the older, smaller phones. Maybe people are using newer ones. There might be an issue with that, so I might do a redesign on this where it has 7 slots. Right now it's got 8 slots, and use that extra room so for thicker phones. And what we got in here is, I don't know if we can see this, but I have between the holes there, I've got alternating wedges going like kind of crisscross all the way across, so that when the phone goes in there, this part sits in the center. It doesn't hit to the left or the right. So that way, let's see if we can better explain this on here. So what I was trying to stop was the phone from sitting flush like this on the side, on the inside, because then you're gonna have all that heat build up. So I did was build those wedges, so the back, this phone will sit out just a little bit. It'll be centered on the inside, so at least you'll get some circulation of air between there. And I've got that on each one, so you can kind of see it wants to stay in the center on here. But yeah, so I try to think of all the things that could possible on airflow, and just having a proper design. And I think I hit the mark. You guys can let me know. This will obviously be for sale on my eBay store, also on my website, which isn't up yet. Hopefully any day now I'll have some stuff actually on there. I don't know what I'm gonna call it yet. Phone cooler? No, it's gotta be something cooler than that, because my other stuff, the Warthog blade, the Warthog cluster, so I gotta come up with a clever name for this. What did I learn? Because I learned so much doing this. I learned a lot. So let's get into that. Okay. All these are test prints and test prints and test prints. Let's start with the original idea, which was probably overkill, which is this guy. Let me find the piece it sits in. This one right here. Okay. So what I originally designed was, this was going to be the fan adapter. You'd attach the fan. It would work the same as this, where the fan is under here, and then this is the base. And then you would throw this on top here, which inserts, there's like little notches in there where it inserts, and then this would go in here, and you would throw the phones right in here. And what I was trying to accomplish is having as much cool area blow over as much as over the phone as possible. And if you think about it, if you have more air blowing this long way, more cool air is contacting the surface of the phone, as opposed to what I've got here is only this shorter part of the phone is getting cool air, and as the air travels up, it's warmer and warmer, so you're wicking away less and less heat. But I really think I was overthinking that way too much. So we went to this other design, and also this kind of looks like a slot machine. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, this is maybe one on here. But yeah, this kind of looks like a slot machine. So we just decided that wasn't going to be the final build, but it got me in the right direction. These holes on top here were for cable management, so you could throw the cords for the chargers on the phone, feed them through those holes up here, feed them through here, and then just go right into the phones. Again, overkill. So, and that's something I learned was sometimes simple is a little bit better. And so I went from this monstrosity, which is giant, huge, and we went to something a little bit simpler and more functional. Then I started dialing in on making sure these would stick to the plate, wouldn't have any corner lifting, and so I just printed a bunch of small pieces. So like this is just the very start of the phone holder, and I just printed just a little bit. I wanted to see if I needed any supports within here, and I didn't need any supports, which is pretty cool. So I could print it like this, Didn't need any supports. I wasn't sure if I was going to need to, just because of the circles. I didn't know how that was gonna work. I know like you can print across like a gap, and sometimes you don't need supports, you know, if the gap's short enough. I didn't know how that was gonna work with circles. So it worked. When you're doing test prints, print as little as possible. Just print the little pieces that you need for whatever thing you're trying to test, so you don't waste a bunch of filament, because all this is a waste of filament. And I was pretty efficient this time. I tried to get a little bit more efficient on my trial and error and stuff like that. So it still was a lot, but it could have been a lot worse. You know, these could have been 3 more chunky pieces that I printed that I didn't need to. So this guy, I guess screw holes are too big, so I trimmed those up. They were just too big, and the screws were just going right through. And after this monstrosity, we thought of this, which looks like tacos lined up, like a taco phone cooler. I don't know. I thought it was fine. I thought it was cool. I was like, yeah, this works. And this was the very beginning of those wedges that I was telling you. Me trying to figure out how to keep the phone away from being flush against any one of these walls. So here, obviously, if you have the phone sitting here, the wedge would drive it to the side, and then the phone, let's get it on like this one, to the side, and then the phone would sit sideways, creating, creating a little bit of airflow between there. See, both sides have airflow. So that was the beginning of that idea. But then I couldn't get past the whole taco thing. And what I did learn on this was I tried to do supports. This is when I just thought I had to have supports, but I guess I didn't. So I could not get any of this out. This is all support filament. I tried getting it out, and it was not worth it. So that's when I decided to try and print it without supports, and it worked. So like I said, trial and error. Sometimes you don't need supports when it looks like you do. Yeah, so we got done with the taco thing. This was another one. The wedges were too small, so I made them a little bit bigger. But then obviously the final product, I put the wedges in the center. And I think also the original design was to keep the phone this way. But then talking to Dirty Miner, and I was asking him, where is most of the heat at on these phones? And he was telling me it's around the camera and top of the phone. So the issue would have been there wasn't going to be any cooling right there. So that's when I decided it has to go this way. Got to get that air, or we got to get that heat off that phone as soon as possible, and that would be right here. So that's when we decided to do like the little cubbies for the phone. And yeah, this was like the original print, just to test. And I think that's about it. I guess I could show you the insert I did. I wish I had, oh, I do have one that I don't have an insert in, so we can show you how that works. So I'm trying to do multicolor prints, and I'm trying to learn how to do the prints multicolor, but putting them together easy, because I don't know, for me, I feel like when you see those like small statues, little pandas and little cute animals, and they're multi-printed, you know, they're printed on A1 with the AMS, and they look like shit, like, to be honest. You know, because you can see the little layer lines, the difference in like when the brown changed to white or whatever. And so I know you probably do need that for that type of product, but for this, I tried to print this on my A1 with the AMS, and so it would switch the filament in here, and it looked like crap. So I wanted to work around, and I was like, well, why don't I put in a cutout in there, right? A cutout there, and then print up a bunch of these things, right? And it could just fit in there just like this, and bam. So you get that, you know, that premium feel, I guess you could say, because it's got the logo on there. Again, like I said, I'm pretty sure Varus is the main go-to coin for phone mining, when other stuff does pop up, or if any of you guys are looking for a different coin that you're super excited about, let me know. I can redesign the colors. It's really, really easy to match that coin. And I can redesign the insert. But yeah, so we got that insert. It doesn't come out because once the holder's on there, like there's no way for it to get out. So that was like pretty cool, that I thought was pretty cool. Something a little extra that I designed to create more value for this item. And that's what I've been trying to work on is create more value and let the CAD software, let me use the CAD software to create that value, and not so much doing after, I guess, post-processing stuff, and not letting the printer do all the work and like the filament changes and stuff like that. Because if I can break up the colors into different pieces, and all it takes for me is one little, that's what, 2 seconds? So that's worth it to me. And I think it's a much better product in the end. And plus, this will be something whoever buys this gets to put in. So it's a little more interactive, right? Like, I'm trying to develop stuff where people can put it together easy. They don't need much hardware, screwdrivers, screws. Obviously, we do need a fan, so that's got to be secured somehow with the screws. But I feel like it's just a little bit better having it that way, a little bit better of an experience of like the user kind of putting together the thing that they're using, for phone mining. So that's kind of my idea with that. And then I guess one last thing I learned is PLA. I've been primarily printing in PETG because most of my stuff has been GPU shrouds, APU shrouds, the BC250, higher temp stuff. And so I really needed to print that stuff in PETG. Everybody says PETG is like hard to work with. I feel like it's easier than PLA, but it could be because I started in PETG and I haven't really had much experience in PLA. And I was having a lot of issues with the corners of this stuff just lifting up off the build plate. And I have examples. That's why these are not final products. So I don't know if it's going to be kind of hard to even like show you how unlevel that is, but maybe this one's a good example because this was pretty bad. I don't know. Just trust my, you can see like the bulging a little bit on the bottom, but just take my word for it. When you sandwich it with this, even the smallest little bit of lifting off the build plate, creating a little gap on the corner, you can totally see it just the way this design is. So I had issues with that. And I have the regular PEI plates that come with the Bamboo A1 printers, or all the Bamboo printers, I think. And so I do have one cool plate, the Super Stick or Super Tack, I think it's called. And so I used that and I got much better results, but then I did still have a little bit more lifting in the corners off the plate, but it was better. And so what I did was put, I think like 30, 40 millimeter, I guess I can show you on this one. Put 30, 40 millimeter circles, and I put that in this, I built that in the CAD software. Don't do it in the slicer software. It does, it's a brim, I think it's called, but it's not really secure. It's made to come off, and it provides a little bit of extra like adhesion to the bed, but it doesn't work. So design your own. I would suggest in your CAD software. I did like a 30 millimeter diameter circle and 0.2 millimeters high. So you do have to come back and take your, this thing, I can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but you got to come back and like, scrape that off. So a little bit extra post-processing on that side. But I mean, I guess it is what it is. I couldn't really figure out a way around it. So little scrape each corner, fine, whatever. But that was something I learned with working with PLA. So I actually ordered 4 more of the cool plates. I think I'm gonna exclusively just switch to those and never have to worry about stuff peeling off again. Probably rambled a lot in this video. I'm trying to get better at this. So I'll probably do a little bit more rambling until I, you know, master this craft, I guess you could say. But I'm not doing a script. I can't do scripts because I sound like a robot. I'm probably sure you guys have seen from my last couple videos or my older ones. I'm kind of like a robot in those because I'm like remembering the script and talking about it. But anyways, like probably most of you have left this video because we're no longer talking about the thing that we're supposed to be talking about. But that's it. So this will be available, like I said, on my eBay store. Link will be in the description for that. Link will be in the description for the fan on the bottom. And that's it. If you guys have any other ideas of stuff for me to print, to design, let me know. Throw a comment in the comment section below. Make sure you like, make sure you share this if you can. I'm really trying to grow this channel. And my next project is going to be super cool. It's going to be a much bigger project than this. It's going to, I don't know, this wide, multiple pieces that you have to put together. And it will be for crypto. And it's going to be super awesome. I'm really excited about that. Give me a while to get that going. It's going to take a bit to design, trial and error. As you can see, it takes a bit. But yes, like, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.